All right, good morning, class. Here's some examples of rooms that I've found in Pixelbase. I just searched the term room and make sure that everything's working fine here. And I'll just hide that. So I search room, and within the first few pages, these images, that's actual edited images, these images popped up. I'll unlock you and shift you up to there. Okay. So then I went through and edited and kind of got images that look like this. And which one am I after? Oh yeah, this one here. Okay. So let's talk about these a little bit and see what we've got. Okay. Heaps of changes. You're going to see that the pictures were changed on the walls. There are wolves, swans, all very kind of surreal. There's light streaks coming through. So the whole narrative, there's a pug down there, flowers, all kinds of things. So the whole story's been changed in terms of what was happening in the room originally. Completely different story. Okay, so let's hide that one and that one. Now we get to this one here. Here's the original room. Okay, and you can see I've actually added another room, cut the windows out with this little girl looking out the window, a dove flying through, there's a face, there's lightning bolts and all sorts of things. Things like blend modes and all sorts of bits and pieces we use to create that. Okay, and again, another story. Let's take a look here. So you can see shadows in the window, sharks, there's this scary or sad looking girl over here. Some sort of control panel with clouds and things and lightning bolts and images and stuff. So let's pop that out of the way and let's bring this image here back. Okay, I just want to go over a couple of things to add to what we've already learnt. First of all, I've got this image of a koala and I want to replace this here. So there's a wall, and the question is, how do I get this on the wall? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Edit, go down to Transform and Distort. Okay, Edit, Transform, Distort. When that happens, no longer am I resizing the whole thing together, but I'm able to grab these handles or anchor points. Should actually look up what they're called sometime, and drag these and pop them where I want them to go. Okay, so I'll line that up. Okay, and I'll grab my next anchor point. You see it's going to skew quite a bit, but that's okay, because then I'll grab my final one and pop it on here. Then tap Enter on your keyboard to lock that in. Okay, it might need a little bit of tidying up, but overall that's pretty cool. Okay, now another thing that I might want to do to an image or a layer that I'm working on is to change what they call the levels. Because you can see this image is quite bright, and this, I've just put some bright light around here, but for some reason I may want to change the levels on this. So Control L on my keyboard, so Control then L will bring this up. Okay, with levels, here's the dark or the black or the pure black colors at this end. So if I drag this across, you can see what's happening. Here are your midtones. Okay, so that's kind of brightening it right up, and that's darkening it up. And there's your white, so any kind of white colors get brightened up. It's probably not a great example, but you may have images that you feel that they're just too dark, or they don't color match or whatever, or brightness match, I should say. That will be the way you fix that up. Let's click OK to that. We're not going to worry about that too much. So we've got that on the wall. Now I've popped in these other images here. And remember, layers can be moved up and down. So I'm going to drag this to the top. I'll drag this other one up as well. Okay. So what I want to do is, let's say I've added 10, 12 images and I've got a whole lot of things going on my screen. But now I want to just kind of pull it all together. Okay, with maybe a color. The word's not coming to me, but it'll come to me in a minute. I'm trying to find a bit of a color theme for the entire work, and I'll probably think of it when I've ended this tutorial. But so I've got a number of options. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an image like this over the top of the whole thing, which at the moment doesn't make any sense. You can see over here I can turn on the blend mode, so that would actually blend all that in. And actually that does look pretty cool when you look at that. And I could always use the eraser. I actually like that. I think that looks really awesome, but I'm going to not do that for the moment. So what I want to do is I want to take all the color in here and use that to affect my image in the background, okay? But as much as I like how this looks, I'm going to use a blur, all right? So I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, and the two that I tend to play with is Radial Blur, which we've done before, and Gaussian Blur. So let's just start with Gaussian Blur. Click on that, get your blur up as high as you want it to go. So you can see that I'm losing a lot of color when I get to about, into the hundreds. If I get to around about 38, you can see I can still see a little bit of detail in there. So figure out where you want to get it, okay? You can always undo and come back and try again. So you can see I've got my blur looking like this. I'll click OK. And then I'll come over to my blend modes and, click something like multiply. And you can see exactly what's happening here. I'll unhide it and hide it. So I've actually colorized everything, including the koala bear picture, so that helps tie it in. Okay, so let's hide that one and go to the other image that I brought in. Select that, and then I'm going to go Filter, Blur, and this time instead of a Gaussian blur, I'm going to go to Radial. Now you might remember, and I'll see if I can zoom in. Here we go. Yep. You might remember that when we did Radial Blur, we had a couple of options. So I'll bring the blur up. I can spin or I can zoom. Okay. So I'm going to zoom, and I'm also going to shift where the zoom's going. Even if I'm spinning, I can shift where the zoom's going. But I'm going to zoom, and I'm not quite sure how much I need to zoom because I don't really get a preview. But I'll just click OK. And yeah, I like that. I like what the color is doing here. This can work really well if you have a window, okay? So if you want to, there we go. I've done it perfectly because I've pre-planned this, not. So I've got a window over here. So let's bring that back in. And now if I'll start with multiply, and you can see what's happening. It makes it look like the light is coming from that window, okay? Now, if you feel like it looks great, but you feel like too much is happening, I can't really zoom in and pan across my screen, but over here it says opacity, where it says 100%, and you can turn that down a little bit if you don't want it to be so strong. And you can use multiple images, like see, for example, I've got that one going on. If I bring my other one in, you can see that I'm actually using both lots to affect it. And again, I might bring down the opacity on that one, okay? And at any stage, I could grab my eraser, make sure it's got a soft brush. Let's make sure we're actually on a layer. And I might, say, come over to an area where maybe I don't want there to be as much. There we go. So I've taken a little bit of that away from here. I might want to take a little bit of light away from here, just so it looks like she's being lit up a little bit. Even if I go there, you can see the change, okay, which I don't want. I want to get some of that color back. All right. One final thing, if you find things fall apart in Photoshop, like somehow get out here, somehow things have kind of messed up and I don't know, maybe things have become disconnected and you've lost your toolbar. If we go to Window, Workspace, you can reset Essentials. We're largely working in Essentials, and then you can reset it. Or you can click on Essentials if you've somehow changed to another workspace, and then go back to Essentials. There we go. I hope that was helpful, and I hope you have a good session. Okay. Don't forget to support each other, ask questions, and if you have other ideas and other things that you want to try out, obviously I'm not here to help you at the moment, then it's okay to Google things and look for answers. All right. Enjoy your session.